Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Amelia and I'm here to give you the tools, tips, and tricks for your writing, blogging, and productivity needs to help you create a life that you love. So for today, I thought I would talk about how to feel productive, and the reason I use the word feel instead of to be productive is because I feel like these things are different. So this is actually part of a two-part series where I talk about one, how to feel productive, and then another video about how to actually be physically productive. So they're a bit different, at least in my view, and I will get into that in a second. But first, I wanted to update you. I went on like a longer vacation than I think I was supposed to do. I went to my parents' house because I visit them once a month, and I went back to Indianapolis, and I was supposed to be there for 3 days and I was there for 5, so yay me. And then I got back last night and I just binge watched the second season of The Umbrella Academy, and I slept in today till like 11, and I was only up for 2 hours before I took a nap again at 1, and now it's like almost 6 o'clock. It is what? 6:04? Yeah, I just basically have slept all day it's only an hour difference between the two, but for some reason it gets me every time. So, okay, let me tell you the difference between feeling productive and being productive. So for me, I do separate the two. I think productivity does come in these two forms. Some days you can feel both, and some days you only feel one or the other. Sometimes I feel productive, but I didn't do anything. And I would say like a vacation might be like that for me. I might go somewhere with Matt or just go see my family, and it's not actually a productive event. I don't really do anything, but it feels productive because I feel like I'm adding value to my life in other ways. Now, productivity can mean a lot of different things for a lot of different people. Sometimes you feel productive when you do a really good job at your work. Sometimes you feel productive when you work on your passion projects, and sometimes you just feel productive when you get out of bed. I mean, it's really different for everybody, and I think that can make productivity, like defining it, kind of difficult. I think if I were to define productivity, it would probably be the feeling, I do focus more on feeling, but feeling that you did something worthwhile in your day, but also actually doing something worthwhile, like both. You feel that you did it, and then you also did do it. However, I am separating the two here, even in my own definition, but that's why I wanted to talk about how to feel productive today. So, again, feeling productive is based on just how you feel. You felt like you did a worthwhile job today. And being productive is that you actually did the things that you wanted to do. Two very separate things, very different, but yes. Alright, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hop into ways to feel productive. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. So, the first step in feeling productive is to do something that you love. So when it comes to feeling productive, you have to feel that what you did was worth your time. And doing something you love is the best way to go about that, because you value that activity, so therefore you're going to value any outcome from it, typically, and you're going to feel as if your time was well spent. So for me, I love to read and I love writing, and so no matter what I do, if I'm writing on my blog, writing on my work in progress, writing for another website, or reading a book, reading an article, like any of those things really do make me feel like I've been productive, because those are things that I value. I really care about doing what I love. I've always been that person to kind of chase what they wanted instead of just doing other things, and I'll be like, oh, I'll get to what I love later. So I actually recently applied to a job, and one of the parts of the interview was that you had to read a certain article, and it is called, so the article is called How to Do What You Love, and it's on paulgraham.com. I will leave a link in the description box below, but I thought it was a really interesting article because it is about how to do what you love and how to find your passion for things. And it's noted that people who are passionate about what they do tend to do a better job. So I feel like that's why productivity can go hand in hand between feeling and being, because if you really love what you're doing, you're going to do a good job at it. and then thus you're going to be productive in the physical sense. So that's just my philosophy, their philosophy a little bit, me trying to connect the two, I guess. But yeah, I think doing what you love is a really great way to feel as if you're doing something worth your time, and that is what productivity is all about, kinda. So the next thing that will help you feel productive is to do the work now so that you don't have to worry about it later. And I think that's a really, really great way to just feel productive, because when it comes to work, sometimes we put it off, and that's called procrastinating. And when we do that, we often stress ourselves out, we become very worrisome, and sometimes the project doesn't get done, and then we, beat up on ourselves because we didn't do anything. So getting the work done as soon as you can is probably one of the most productive things that you can do, and it's going to make you feel better because then you don't have to worry about it. There was a girl in my college class, in my creative writing class, and she always did her homework the day that it was assigned. Now that wasn't always physically possible for me because I had a job, so if I would have done my homework the day it was assigned, I'd be up till like 3 in the morning or something, but she was able to do it, and it's probably one of the smartest things you can do, because if your classes are all at the beginning of the week, and you do your homework at the beginning of the week, you have the rest of the week to just do whatever you want, and you don't have to worry about it, rather than doing all your homework Sunday night, which is what I did half the time. So don't listen to me when it comes to doing your homework or being timely. I may preach productivity, but when it comes to practice, it's hard for me too. So I do think that when you get a project, do it as soon as you can, and then you'll feel better later. So one example that I did do well on this is I had a freelance project, and they assigned it to me on Monday, and I did it Monday. I didn't do the whole thing because it's a very big project, so it took me a couple days, but I submitted it, or I finished it at least, 2 days before the due date, and I went ahead and submitted it then, because that eliminates the worry and stress that will come from, not finishing it on time or struggling to the last minute. So definitely get the things you need to do done first, even if you don't want to do them. I think it's just gonna save you so much worry in the long run. Gosh, I realize my desk is a mess, but I'm just trying to not look at it because this is what's important. I know. So the next way to feel productive is to eliminate stress. This sounds kind of weird, it just sounds kind of, I don't know if it sounds obvious or if it sounds kind of what? I'm not really sure how that sounds to me, but it sounds a little strange. I do think eliminating stress is a really big factor of feeling productive, because if you're stressed out about things that you have to do, things that you have done but aren't sure they're good enough, or you're stressed about how unclean your house is, or whatever really stresses you, if you keep focusing on that, you're not going to feel as if you've done anything worth your time. And I think when it comes to being productive, you just feel less productive. You could, knock out your entire workload, in the beginning of the week and have the rest of the week free, but if you're stressed about, I don't know, how well the project's going to be received, or you're stressed about your kids or your family or your friends or whatever triggers stress in your life, if you are stressed, you're not going to feel the satisfaction of completing your projects. And I think that's a really important thing when it comes to feeling productive. So a way that I eliminate stress personally is I listen to music. I find that that's just super relieving. I'm not really sure why, but it is. I also, again, I read, I write. Both of those things eliminate stress, which is really good because those are my projects and those are things that I need to get done and I love them. So, I'm tackling a lot, I'm checking off a lot of boxes here, doing exactly what I love and helping to solve all my other life problems. But when it comes to feeling stressed, sometimes writing doesn't work. And so sometimes there's a gnat in here. Go away. I can't kill it. I don't want to kill it. But some ways that I eliminate stress is through meditation. I started meditating, a couple years back, maybe 3 or 4 years back. I'm not really sure how long ago it was. But I got this app called Headspace. Now, I've never actually paid for the app, so I just did their trial version. But it taught me how to meditate, and I thought it was really helpful. I haven't gone back to look at their prices. I might pay for the app at some point. I honestly don't know, but I did use it for a while when I had the trial, and it was really beneficial. And then after the trial ran out, I started finding free meditation podcasts or videos on YouTube, and I would just like go to different ones. Again, nothing has really been as good as Headspace, but you know, I'm cheap, so. But I would like, whenever I'm stressed, I will like sit down in my living room, and I like meditating at night when I can light candles and stuff and just kind of sit surrounded by candles and just like process everything. And I find that that really helps my heart rate, and it helps me worry a lot less. Another thing I do is I read, because reading takes you away from your current situation. I think that's why I loved fantasy when I was younger, because it takes you out of your real life and it gets you as far away from it as possible. Recently I've been more into nonfiction, but it still takes me away from my problems and puts me into someone else's problems, which I think is what reading's all about. So reading has definitely helped me eliminate stress, but there's a number of other things. My mom always wanted to cook or bake whenever she was stressed, and I stress clean, because it ends up benefiting me in a few ways, because when I clean, then, you know, I feel productive and I feel better knowing that my house is clean versus if I just left it a mess or something. Plus, it's just nice to organize things and feel like I'm doing something. I think when it comes to eliminating stress, you really have to do it your own way and do what works for you, but it's going to benefit your productivity in so many ways, especially if your goal is to make sure that you feel productive at the end of the day. And so here is my last tip, I guess, on how to feel productive, and that is to make sure that your goals and values align with what you intend to do in life, or like your dream life, I guess. This is kind of weird, like worded weird, and I tried to find a better way to word it, but this is what I came up with. For me, at the moment, I am broke as heck. So I am definitely not on track to what I want to do. I would love to buy a house and have a little homestead, and I would love to continue making videos and blogging and freelancing. That's what I would love to do. I would like to work remotely with maybe a company or something. And I do make daily attempts at those goals, but at the moment, they're pretty far-fetched. And, you know, when it comes to my everyday goals, I kind of work towards some of them, but not all of them. So, you know, I apply to different freelance jobs every day, and I'm working on YouTube and working on my blog, but it's just still not completely aligned. And what I value in life, the things I'm passionate about, those are definitely heavily influence my goals. I think I'm more on track than my friend might be, but I'm still not quite there. And I think for any of you who are watching this, I really hope what I've said made sense. But whatever your, you know, like 2-day, weekly goals are they aligning with your long-term goals? For example, when I was working at Target and I was in college, I was like, okay, I want to be in college for 4 years, and then I'm going to work at Target that entire time, and as soon as I graduate and get my degree, then I'm going to jump right into my field and live the life I love. So I had 4 years where I was planning on not living the life I love and not pursuing it whatsoever, because I was like, oh, it'll come. 4 years from now, then I can do everything I wanted. I lived my entire gap year like that. During my gap year, I worked at Target completely full-time, and you know, it sucked the life out of me. I did start my blog in that year, and I did publish my first book, but those are the only 2 things I really did to push myself in the right direction when it comes to following my lifelong goals. And even as I did that, I still didn't, I don't know, I still had this mindset that my short-term goals, which were working at Target, were like going to help me in the long run, and they weren't. Like, looking back on it, I kind of wish I jumped into freelance more, that I'd done more research. Like, it took me a good 2 years to really figure out where I'm heading and how I can make my short-term goals match my long-term goals. So I think that's something really important to focus on if you want to feel productive, because if you're basing your productivity on achieving those long-term goals, you need to make short-term goals that are going to get you there. If you don't, you're never going to feel that satisfaction of reaching what you desire. And that sounds kind of, you know, sad and upsetting, especially if you're young and you haven't graduated yet, or, you know, if you're stuck in college and you really don't know how to expand, or you don't have the time to really, you know, put effort into the things that you're passionate about or the jobs that you like. It can be hard to hear these words, but trying to shift your life one thing at a time until you end up having short-term goals that will get you to your long-term objective is just super important. And make sure that your long-term objective is something you love. Like, if your short-term goals right now are to study psychology, so that way you could be a psychologist, but that's not what you wanted to be. You just did it because it was easier in the short run. And so you actually want to be, I don't know, like a nurse or something. You should probably change your short-term goals to be a nurse. I know a lot of people who end up going to college and choosing professions that they don't entirely love, and they think that years down the road after they've done it for a while they'll be able to do what they love, but that's just simply not the case, at least as far as I've learned. Of course, everybody's experiences are different, but I've found that it's a lot easier just to push yourself in the direction you want to go rather than diverging and thinking, I'll get there if I do this other thing. Like, you're gonna get stuck in another thing, at least as far as I believe. I do have a video on, like, why college isn't for everyone, and I will put that in the description box below. And it kind of covers that topic a little bit more. I just wanted to touch on it because I think when it comes to feeling productive and feeling satisfied with your life, you're not going to feel that way if you're not pursuing your long-term goals. Alright, well that's all I have for you for this video. If you want to see part 2, you can go to my channel if it's up. If it's not, then wait a week. But part 2 will be all about how to be productive, like in the physical sense. And that one doesn't really focus on how you feel at all, which is, I value feeling productive over being productive, which sounds crazy, but I think that it's something that both go hand in hand to your overall happiness. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe and hit that notification bell if you want to be alerted every time I post. And thank you for watching.